This is First GenXers.
Poetic beats, poetic beats, poetic beats, poetic beats.
Hello. Hello, all out there. Give me a test run, fellas, just to check something. Somebody says, yep, that's the problem. We have to start all over. Not without the intro and everything, but we just have to stop and start because for some odd reason my co-hosts are not being heard, and that's not acceptable. So give us 2 seconds. No, I said none of you guys are being heard. So I just have to fix something real quick. Hold on, let me see if I can fix it this way. Nope, the microphone there is set correctly. Okay, so we're going to have to shut this down. All right, and we should be going in 3, 2, bam. Hey, and we're back. Sorry about that. Had a little technical difficulties.
Jeez, what the fuck, bro?
Hey, man, sometimes, in the immortal words of Forrest Gump, it happens. What's that?
Right.
Shit. Anyway, all right, so guys, I promised you guys a hot topic to open this show. And this is going to be, or has been a hot topic over the past about decade plus. Everybody remembers the show Friends. Monica, Chandler, Joey, etc. Yeah. Everybody remembers the show Living Single. Tthis,
Absolutely.
Queen
What?
Latifah, etc. Was Friends popular because of the change of characters? Because they're both basically the same plot. There's a little bit of difference in the sense of some of the situations that they end up in, but overall, the two shows are pretty much the same plot. Okay? Was Friends popular because, and lasted longer because it was a bunch of white people?
Yes.
And was Living Single cut short? And is it not considered as epic as Friends because it's full of black people?
Why are you asking questions you already know the answer to, my man?
Our listeners may not know the answers to this question.
Listen. Let's keep it. Let us keep it a buck, okay? When T.C. Carson got replaced, when he got fired,
Yeah.
from it Living Single, it was like, no disrespect to the production or whatever, but the show kind of went on a decline just a bit when Mel
The
Jackson
chemistry
came in
definitely
there.
wasn't there. Like the chemistry
No.
definitely wasn't there the same way it was there with T.C. Carson.
So,
And then making him a roommate of the girls, I think, was a big mistake too. I think he should have been a replacement roommate for Overton, and left Overton still in the thing. But then they got married. Anyway, never mind. I'm just, but I understand what you're saying. Yes, the quality of the show did decline a small amount when T.C. Carson left.
but in terms of Friends, though, I never, have never really, in during the time it was on, because it was just better TV at that point in time, and that's just never really been my cup of tea. So I really didn't have that kind of an investment. Seinfeld, barely.
Yeah. Actually,
But
I'll admit, I was actually into Seinfeld. Like, not in the sense of I related to it. Like, obviously, I would relate more to like the Cosby Show than Seinfeld. But there was a lot of situations that I could easily laugh at and relate to in Seinfeld. Not so much with Friends. But Dave, what were you gonna say?
Oh, nothing really. I
Yeah.
mean, Friends. I think there's a quote from Dick Wolf, the guy who has brought us the Law and Order Empire and Chicago Empire and all
Yeah.
those shows, um, where he described what he makes as the television equivalent of Campbell's chicken noodle soup.
Okay.
It's no frills, it's consistent
You know what you're gonna
all the
get.
way. You're going to get the same thing every time you tune in,
Yep.
and it just is what it is. So
Yeah.
it's like, you know, it's comfort food in general.
Well.
It's not well made, particularly well made comfort food,
Yeah.
but
And
it
that kind
is.
of hits my point on the head. Is that I I will never say I loved Friends. It was all good to me because I dated a girl for about 7, 8 years on and off, and her family was just obsessed with Friends. So
Mm,
I've seen every episode from episode 1 to episode 10. There was a period of time in my life where it was always on in the background, not because I wanted to watch it, but just because it was comfortable. Like he was saying, it was comfortable. It
yeah.
was something familiar. But I never found it as funny, other than there. Don't get me wrong. There were times when I was super blazed, where Friends was just like the
Mhm.
funniest TV show ever. But
Right.
then again, no, a black screen probably would have been the funniest TV show at that time, as high as I was. So,
Yeah.
uh, I'll say, but but in general, when I'm like just waking up, Friends is on. It doesn't really get that laughs, and I'm gonna state this like this. I don't want to make this conversation because it's not about race, even though I asked the question in that particular manner. I don't want to make it about race, but there was something that was off with Friends, and I brought this up during the process of watching Friends, and it was a joke I've made since I was in my early 20s when Friends really became a part of my life. How is it? And now that the series is over 10 seasons, 10 count them, they run into and interact with about 5 black people, and there's maybe about 25 seen in the background, or people of color in almost in general.
In
Like
New York City.
in New York City, the Bronx is like 6 blocks over, and like I'm like that was something that I just never relate. And there just wasn't much that I could relate to in Friends.
Mhm.
I was living at home with my parents, so like living on your own, doing it. I couldn't relate to that. But there were a lot more subject matter, so on and so forth, in living single that I could emotionally relate to.
Right.
And,
And
and so to me, it was a better written series, and to me, it was the better series. But Friends
yeah,
just got to go longer.
and I think that's the key of it,
Yeah,
is that Living Single was written from the black point of view,
yeah,
in that the hooks for the series, they were mostly to black viewers,
audiences, yeah,
whereas for Friends, it was the white slash Jewish point of
yeah,
view of living in New York.
yeah,
Um, and it is the way that it is. It's one of the reasons that Cosby went so long,
yeah,
is that you had a black sitcom, but written towards the white point of view,
I can see what you're saying.
where
Yeah,
it's like, here's what upscale black people are really like.
yeah,
And it you know, um, wasn't the Jeffersons,
yeah.
it wasn't Good Times, where where they're showing the struggle of living
In impoverished situations. Yeah,
right, and just running on that treadmill all the time, and not getting the headway that they try to,
fair enough.
except for, of course, Jeffersons, because that was all about upward mobility.
Right. And Sherman Hemsley is a hell of an actor. Let's just give him
Oh
his
yeah,
flowers. Like I
oh
know he
yeah.
was giving him a long time ago, but let's give him to him again here.
Yeah.
I love Sherman Hemsley. I was actually just telling a younger cohort, like I my assistant and the other guy that I work with, both are like between 20 and 25, let's say.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, y'all too young to remember Sherman Hemsley. I was like, Sherman
Oh,
Hemsley was that guy. I was like, because no, that's what we were talking about. We were talking about the McMahon walk. The Mr.
hmm
McMahon walk when he won the
Oh, yeah.
ECW title and he had on the do rag and he was doing a little swagger. I was like, it reminded me of the Justin Jefferson walk, except Sherman Hemsley just did it a lot
Yeah.
better. You know,
And, let's also not forget the absolute, I mean, that the impact of that All in the Family
yeah,
episode
yeah.
where, you
With
know,
the Archie
he,
Bunker.
yeah, but
Yeah.
George saves a white dude, a racist white dude, and when the dude finds out who saved him, he's like, you should have just let me die.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was an episode. Oh my gosh, man, don't do that, bro, because
Yeah.
that was an episode way back.
Yep.
I'll never forget that episode.
That and MASH where they put shoe polish on the racist soldier who got a blood transfusion from a black soldier to save his life. And he's like, what happened to me? Well, the only blood we
turn
have
black.
available was from black, so you guess you're black now.
It's funny to me how, and this is gonna sound funny, how there were people out there who will tell you that racism only exists because we acknowledge it. But yet, but yet, we see example after example after example in the 60s and 70s of television art imitating life and what
Yep.
was really going on. And it's just like it just baffles me that after all that time and with all that archival footage showing us of exactly how it used to be, why would we be anywhere near close to where that was, like in
Yeah.
regards to just people being outright about that type of stuff. But anyway,
Yeah.
um,
Well, it's the quote from Dr. King in Letters from Birmingham Jail about the white moderate who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension,
yeah,
as opposed to true justice.
yeah, yeah. Hey, there you go. We just have Martin MLK Day last week.
You
Good one,
bet.
Dave. There you go. All right. So now let's move a little bit forward before we jump into pop culture corner. Just a couple of topics I wanted to talk to y'all about. Saying I figure you might have some opinions about this. You know, there seems to be a somewhat mixed reaction to SZA being added to the halftime show at the Super Bowl with Mr. Kendrick Lamar, which will be happening in what, like 3 weeks, I believe. The championship
All
games
right,
and a week off, yeah, 2 weeks.
look. Okay, first of all, let us remember that SZA was on a very hot soundtrack with a very hotter movie
Yeah.
back in 2018. That movie called Black Panther.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, she was on the soundtrack. Man, get over yourselves, man. Get the fuck out of here with the BS. Like, we know, I mean, we don't know who's gonna show up.
Odds are
We don't
SZA's being
know.
brought in to perform their song from the Black Panther
Yeah,
soundtrack, which was
yeah,
one of the most popular songs of that
yeah.
year.
I
So
mean,
odds are that's why he's being
we
brought
know
in.
that, and exactly, you know, but like I said, we don't know who's gonna end up showing up. There's
Yeah.
gonna be a couple of surprises with this whole ordeal. So I mean,
Didn't we have a surprise last year when 50 showed up? Because nobody knew
Yeah.
50 was going to be there?
yeah, but 50 was, that was
50 was thick and chunky.
yeah.
Anyways, sorry, I'm not. Really,
He was that yeah.
that version
I
of
had
50 I hadn't seen before. Either that was
yeah.
all muscle or, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit too much
Hmm.
gravy on them steaks, brother. Anyway, we'll say. And then uh, last topic kind of runs with us all, and that is, hold on, let me pull this up real quick. Boop. A previously unreleased Tina Turner song that goes by the name of "Hot for You, Baby" is going to be included in a new reissue of one of her old albums. I'm always down for new music, and anybody that's surprised that after a musical artist's death, a new song is put out, doesn't understand how easy it is to sit in the sound booth and make some magic happen with just a bunch of old tracks of them running lines in the mic booth. So, Saint, you got any thoughts, Room Scribe, any thoughts on Tina Turner and a new song? Like, what is this? When did she die? Like two,
Yep.
three
I
years
mean,
ago?
it's always
No, first of all, she's not even been a dead man. She hasn't been dead not even a year.
Really? It was last year when she died?
She was last year,
Oh, okay,
last
okay.
year or the end of last year. But um, I'm not surprised by this at all because these are songs that sometimes they may just pop up all of a sudden, or a song that might be released from a vault.
Yeah,
We you know we just don't know.
yeah,
Sometimes these songs, just like I said, they just pop up out of nowhere,
yeah,
and somebody might have it and be like, hey, it's a great idea, this is a lost song.
yeah.
I mean, you got to think about what was it, the Beatles broke up in
oh yeah.
1971,
Yeah.
but they've had like three more tracks or four more tracks together, you
Hmm.
know, together in the sense, which I think the very last Beatles song was just released last year.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I know the one that really came out. I guess it was one or something like that.
No,
Mm.
A
yeah,
couple
this
years
was
back.
like yeah, I think this was yeah, this was last year or 2 years ago,
Yeah.
I believe, that they actually released this particular track. So,
Okay.
but I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not surprised.
So this isn't an
You know,
abnormal thing
No,
oh
then. No.
no, this is,
no.
I mean,
Unless you're like Prince and you have it contractually written that this stuff will never see the light of day or
yeah,
grace human ears.
Still my favorite fact about Prince.
Yep.
That said, yes, I made more great shit. No, you can never see it. Bye.
Yeah.
Like, damn. Like, but I wonder if it did, if it never made it out. Because I've also heard that Prince was like a perfectionist. Like,
Yes.
so if he didn't think that it was A tier number one music, it didn't see the light of day.
Yeah.
I can believe that
Yeah.
because you think about this, like the 40th anniversary of Thriller.
Uh,
Okay, there were remixes of songs. Um, there was one on there. It was "You Want to Be Starting Something" with Akon. You had Fergie.
yeah.
You also had Yee.
Yeah.
But you know, there were songs on there that didn't necessarily make the original cut
Right.
of the album. So I
Hey.
mean, it's
Well,
not surprising.
yeah.
It's not surprising.
There's a story where you know, speaking of Prince and Michael Jackson, where I think Prince was producing an MJ song,
Yeah.
and um, Michael was just used to doing one or two takes,
Yeah.
where Prince kept going back and back
Hmm.
and back and back to get it perfect.
Yep.
And Michael just was didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
Well,
it's you go ahead. Same.
well, the song. Okay, well, the song originally was supposed to be bad.
Yeah.
oh,
Okay,
that's right, bad. Yeah.
and one of the biggest things about that was that Prince did not like the opening lyrics
Yeah.
of what Michael Jackson, "Your Butt Is Mine,"
Yeah.
and Prince was like, uh, nah, nah,
Yeah.
we're not doing that. We're
Yeah.
not doing
Well,
that. So
I'm just saying at the end of the day, a collaboration between those two would have been epic. We didn't see many of them. I think they crossed paths a couple of times throughout their lives, but Man,
Good two
man,
different approaches.
to music. You know,
Yep.
I'll say it like this: the ones that are successful long term are normally the ones that have a mind for that. You know,
Okay.
they definitely have a mind for that. All right, so now that is going to take us
Oh,
into.
okay.
Whoa, what's up? No, no, we're gonna go into. I'll say, where is it? There
Mm-mm.
we go. We're gonna go into pop culture corner with salt and pepper. No, anyway. Well, say.
Really, dude. Come on now.
Hey man, salt and pepper. There we
Okay.
go, right there, right there, right there, right there, right there.
Yeah.
I'll say, hey man, I find myself blessed to be 47 and still a full head of hair. My forehead doesn't come back to here. It's okay. Just full head of hair. A little afro. Anyway, Dave, I heard you had a hotline up for us today for Pop Culture
Okay.
Corner.
Yes. All right. We're gonna lead off with Dark Horse Comics. Basically, number 3 or 4 in the industry, behind Marvel, DC, and possibly Image.
Yep.
But Dark Horse Comics has dropped a comics adaptation of Neil Gaiman's Anansi Boys.
Yep. The whole
And
collection. Done.
yep, yep. And I mean, we understand
Yep.
it. It is what it is.
If you any of
So
you
no
people out there
fault.
watching, if you have plans to become somebody popular, make sure that just either the skeletons are buried so deep nobody gonna find them, or you just don't do nothing wrong. Cause this
Right.
is catching up to niggas, like
Yep.
the plague that is catching up to niggas. So
Yep.
so like don't get your money later for something you're doing now. That's
Yep.
all I'll say. Go ahead,
Oh,
And
continue.
oh,
and
real quick, real quick. See, John Tay is in the building,
What's
running the chat.
up?
woo,
Thank you
hey,
so much.
Sejante.
What's going on,
The
lady? How you
moderator with
doing?
the power.
But
Yeah.
yeah, like Mr. Nancy himself said, angry gets shit done.
Yep, yep. And so, like, yeah, like, no offense, like, bro, you wrote some good things. It's time to go into hiding.
Yep. Yep.
It's
We're
time.
you're done. Um, and just all the ways that Neil Gaiman wrote and presented himself as an ally, as someone who stands up for female and black
Yeah,
and diversity representation in his stuff. I mean, he literally for the Sandman, when he cast a black woman as Death, and all the fanboys came out whining because they didn't get their porcelain skin Death goddess. He's he literally told them to pound sand.
yeah.
So it's it's just it is what it is. And as I've been saying on social media, you know, comic book and science fiction and fantasy fans, we've been here before.
Yep.
It sucks, but we're gonna move beyond it.
And that's the key to it. Is like, it's
Yep.
just understand. It's not a matter of nothing. And this is the same thing I say when we talk about Vince McMahon. When I talk about Vince McMahon is a horrible and shitty human being.
Yep.
Period. None of that changes exactly what he's done for the wrestling business and
Hmm.
how he is primarily responsible. I hate it when people try to say it diminishes. Like, no, if somebody did some good in the world, if somebody did some good work, them being a complete total piece of human being to me doesn't demean that. Good work is good work. Whether it's done by a demon or it's done by an angel, good work is good work.
Right.
So at the end of the day, some of these people may turn out like Bill Cosby to be a demon, but that doesn't change any of the good that his show and what he did and some of the things that he did outside of his show brought good into the world. That doesn't change or to me it diminish any of that. But yeah, It's the
Okay.
same thing with Neil Gaiman.
Yeah.
What he contributed to the comic book world was meaningful. That will always be meaningful. But I'll never buy anything of his again. Like both things
Yeah.
can be true, you
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
So
Yep.
uh,
All right.
go on.
And moving right along. Uh, Star Trek Section 31 is here.
Section
And
31.
yes, as a movie with Michelle Yeoh.
Really?
But the reviews are not being kind.
All right. Let's get into this. All right. I
Okay.
watched Section 31. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Now, um
Right.
I
Before you start, I've got to get Engadget spitting out. It is the single worst thing to carry the Star Trek name in living memory.
Uh oh. Wow.
okay. Hold on. Let me finish.
Yeah, go
Okay.
for
I'm not going to say this was not the best Star Trek movie, okay, in any kind of recent memory. All right. Let's get this on the fact. However, some of the elements that were brought to the table in terms of it, there was a jump off point. There were two species that you haven't seen since the original Star Trek 6 movies. Okay. There were elements in there that was a part of Star Trek The Next Generation.
Yeah.
Okay. There were, a lot there were a lot, there were like, I'll put it to you this way, things that took place, it takes place between, I'll say, Enterprise B and The Next Generation.
Yeah.
it.
They're not putting spoilers out there, but you definitely, just take a look at it for what it's worth. I mean, it
Mhm.
wasn't the greatest story. It was, I'll just put it to you
Right,
this way, it was okay as far as I'm concerned.
right.
It was
And
okay.
yeah,
But I just saw, like I said, a few of the species and maybe one possibility of a Star Trek, The Next Generation kick in is that's the
yeah,
enjoyment of it
yeah.
for me.
And I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but I completely understand where some of the reviewers are coming from in that it's combining 24 in Star Trek, in that you've got this dubious, questionable morality as the protagonist, whereas before they serve as an obstacle to overcome.
Yeah.
You know, we don't need deconstruction in everything. We don't need to see how far the Federation will allow itself to go in the name of preserving peace.
Yeah.
It's idealism versus pragmatism, and
Well,
that's pragmatism in Star Trek is traditionally on the losing side. In that, yeah, this is a problem, but
well,
here's how we can
well,
solve that problem without damaging our points of view.
Gotcha.
well. I mean, you got to be able. Well, I don't know because I know that Section 31, the Section 31 thing has existed. I think
Deep Space Nine.
since yeah, I think since Deep Space. No, even before.
Nope.
No, yeah, you're right. It was Deep Space Nine, and then of course one of the members of the NX-01 Enterprise um
Right.
was also Section 31. Like we just got an opportunity to see it a little more, up close. But
Yeah.
I mean, spoilers ahead. I'll just put it to you this way: a lot of the characters, like I said, a few of the characters you had, one of the characters, I can't remember his name, but it was by Amari Hartwick, okay,
Mhm.
who's originally on the TV show Ghost. Um, he played somebody that was part of the eugenics wars
Yep.
from Khan. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? And yeah, that was that was pretty deep. And then you had a character, you had a Delton
Hmm.
since Star Trek the motion picture. There was another alien I had never seen before, and then you had the Cameloid, who was last seen. Their species was in Star Trek 6, and then you have Lieutenant Rachel Garrett, who eventually becomes Captain
Captain.
Garrett, Captain Garrett on the Enterprise C, and we saw what happened with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy. She's the only straight lace arrow in there, but she's such a bitch.
Yeah.
She is such a bitch, but she's the only Enterprise officer that is on this crew. Everybody else is, suspect or, questionable.
Right.
Right.
And I like shit like that. And I mean, yeah, it was a lot of plot holes and
Yeah.
it was really questionable, but yeah.
I'm just my issue is more, it's not that it's a bad story, it's just it's not the right framing element to tell this story.
Gotcha.
It
Right.
just feels very disconnected in that way.
Yeah.
All right.
It
But
was it was all over the place, but it
yeah,
was just nice, like I could see Section 31 going forward, maybe in like an episode or something they could really, put together,
Yeah.
or, or have a good, just have one mission. I would like to see the crew at the end of that
Yeah.
go on at least
yeah,
one or two missions.
Okay.
And
yeah,
I could see it going further.
right.
Because I mean, we do need space. Would I would like to see um more stuff in that part of the Star Trek lore. The stuff between when Kirk
Right.
retires or when Kirk was killed,
Yeah.
and the next generation. So I'd like to see
Oh,
some of that.
well, trust me. If I know TV and movies, you will see because they are trying to milk the. I feel sorry for the Star Wars and the Star Trek franchises because they are two skinny cows that are still being milked for every bit of milk left in them. So
Well,
if that's, I'm not saying that is a bad thing. I'm just saying like
well,
we
no,
went
It
Star
from
is what
there.
it is.
Wars.
Yeah.
We went
Well,
from
yeah.
seeing
Well, I
three
mean,
movies
Star
and one
Wars,
TV
though.
show expand out to like what 25 different TV shows and like like 100,000 books, like comic books, like trust me, there you will find that there somewhere out there before you die there will be somebody who wrote a comic book series about that period of time or wrote a book or they did a Disney Plus TV show. Like you're gonna
Yeah.
get to see that because they're not gonna stop, especially Disney. They're not
Yeah.
gonna stop milking that Star Wars cow, and
Nope.
they're not gonna Paramount's not gonna stop milking that Star Trek
Star Trek.
cow
Right.
until literally there's nothing left to milk. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
So
It could be still stories and stuff
oh yeah,
that's
mm,
told.
they're there. They're there. There's definitely still meat on the bone
I
for sure.
mean, Andromeda, the TV show Andromeda was pretty
mhm,
much Star Trek Discovery.
mhm.
Yeah, I'm still
Yeah.
5 episodes into the Picard show, so I need to get through that one.
Bro, what's wrong with you, man?
Bro, I have like 80 million different shows that I watch. Like
Yeah.
finding time to add another one
Yeah.
is like damn near impossible. But go on,
Mm.
Dave.
So speaking of milking the cow,
Uh-huh.
Robert Eggers, who just came off Nosferatu last month, director, he is officially signed on to write and direct a sequel to Labyrinth. No word
Okay,
yet.
we're
No word yet on who's playing Jareth's codpiece.
mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm.
Like
No,
this, they need to stop
no,
destroying our childhood.
no. Listen.
Leave it alone.
The Goblin King is forever David Bowie.
Yes.
Hmm.
We do not touch Labyrinth. That's one of those movies. That's one of those movies where you just don't touch it.
You don't do a sequel.
You leave
You
it
don't
where it
remake it.
is.
Yep.
Yep.
You don't there's no prequel,
Yep.
there's no sequel,
It just is.
there's no other character outside of the movie. That's kind of like when the Van Wilder movies were made,
Yeah.
and they had the Rise of Taj, like one of
Hmm.
those movies. Like
That's
no,
not
there's
necessary.
no, there's
Yeah.
none of that. No, we no. That's
Even though Rise of
it's
Taj
like an
was a good movie, though.
abomination.
Hilarious.
No, yeah, no, it was a good movie, but
Yeah.
still, we don't need side movies of side characters like
Yeah.
Bruce and Lloyd.
Yeah.
When that gets smart. No,
Yeah.
we don't want that.
No, I here
We don't
here's
want that.
something here's something where I definitely agree with you. Like what's funny though is it has me scared because there are three movies I've always said they don't ever need to touch. Labyrinth being one,
No,
Princess Bride being the other one, and then Neverending Story being a
yeah,
third. They were great just
yeah.
as they were.
See,
I didn't even like the Neverending Story
listen,
sequels back in the day. Like the original was
Princess.
good enough. But
Look, the
but hold on,
Princess Bride.
hold on. They've already started a remake on Neverending Story. Now we're getting a remake of or a sequel to Labyrinth. Don't leave my Princess Bride alone. I am begging you,
Hmm.
Hollywood.
Yep.
Leave the
No, no,
Princess
no.
Bride the fuck alone. Even if you're gonna bring back all the original characters, I don't care. It was a perfect movie the way it was, and it was or the way it is, and it was a perfect story the way it is. We do not need any type of sequel or add on to this. That's all I'll say. Go on, say it.
That's like somebody like, and no disrespect to The Rock,
Yeah,
but we will never ever want to ever do a sequel. That like there are several movies.
yeah,
Princess Bride is one of them.
yeah.
You can't do that.
Nope. Planes, trains, and
Um,
automobiles.
we
Perfect the
don't.
way it
Yeah.
was.
Well, yeah, that's true. But I'm talking about movies. I'm talking about movies that you want to punch somebody in the face directly if you touch if you touch that movie. There's another one. There's one, The Rock,
Oh yeah, with
with
Sean
Sean
Connery
Connery.
and who was it? Oh God, I forgot who played the cops. Sean Connery
Okay,
and
Nicholas
Nicolas
Cage,
Cage.
Nicholas Cage.
Okay,
Yes.
Tony Todd,
Yeah.
Bokeem Woodbine, all
Michael
these guys.
Bay.
Ed Harris, yeah,
Yeah.
Michael Bain. Okay, we don't touch those. We don't touch that
Leave
kind
it
of
alone.
movie.
Yep.
Okay,
Here's
we
one.
don't
Here's one
touch.
for you that'll come out of left field for you. Falling Down. Just leave that movie the way it was.
Yeah,
Kirk
yeah. That's
Douglas.
another
Hmm.
one we don't. That's another one we don't leave.
Right.
Yep.
We don't mess with that one.
We don't need
Okay.
that remade. We don't. We
Yeah,
don't.
yeah. We
And
don't.
so,
We just don't touch those movies.
but here's the problem: everybody's running out of original ideas in Hollywood, and it's obvious
Well,
by how
Well,
many remakes and all of that we're getting.
it's not that they're running out of original ideas. It's that it's a safe bet.
Right. It's a moneymaker. It's something that you know can. Yeah.
Yep.
Ugh. All right, Dave.
Yep.
You got something else for us?
And finally, we have word that we will be saying goodbye to the Righteous Gemstones this fall. Season 4, which is going to start in March, will be the final season for the Gemstone family. Now,
Okay.
if you haven't watched The Righteous Gemstones,
I have not.
it's a Danny McBride project,
Yes.
which is
I love Danny
pretty
McBride.
much going to be great. Yeah, it's awesome. About a scamming televangelist family
All
and
right. All right.
all the bad stuff that they get up to, with Danny McBride, John Goodman,
Okay.
Walter Goggins.
Okay, I have seen the
Uh,
commercials for that. All right.
yeah, and a ton of other fantastic actors. And
I
Yeah.
still say
it's
his
just,
best role is This Is the End
oh yeah,
when he's
yeah,
playing himself.
yep. But yeah, just and a beautiful parody of the televangelist industry
Okay.
in there. And you know, um, I love some of the takedowns. Like one my favorite song by Genesis, Phil Collins, Peter Gabriel. My
Mm.
favorite song from them is called "Jesus He Knows Me."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
I
good one.
mean, but it's all about the hypocrisy
Yeah.
and just the bad behavior of all these people living off the donations that they get in. And
The hypocrisy of
yep,
church. Um,
yep,
I'll say, yeah, no, my favorite Genesis song is "I Can't Dance."
yeah,
Like that was just the best one.
but yep,
That's all for
Anyway,
me.
that's all. Yeah, that was a good one. It's funny though, when no, but depending on where you go look for that song, some have it listed as a Phil Collins song, and others have it listed
yeah,
as a Genesis song.
just a song, yeah.
Like
No,
it's really
I've
odd.
never. I mean, I've never seen it listed as a Phil Collins song. At least not on my end. It's always been anything I've always seen. It was Genesis.
Yep.
I'll say, I know the official release was Genesis, but I've seen it when I went to go look to download it from somewhere that somebody had it listed as Phil Collins. But just the same, it's a great song, one of many. All right, we got time
But
for
yeah,
one more. So what you got for us, Dave?
that's basically it. I
Okay.
am empty. Oh, well, actually, sorry, I am not empty.
The clip
Uh,
is not empty.
no. Um, George R. Martin.
Oh,
Well, he's still working on Winds of Winter. Not done yet, but he has co-authored a physics paper.
what?
Yes.
One second.
Um,
What's up, Po Politicking? Glad to have you
What's
in.
good
Thanks for
with it, bro?
tapping
What's
in.
good with it? Thanks
yep.
for the bits. Thanks for the bits.
Thank
Yeah.
you, sir. But yes, before the fantasy juggernaut that is A Song of Fire and Ice, aka A Game of Thrones, George R. R. Martin's biggest blockbuster was the series of books called Wild Cards,
Okay,
which is a shared superhero universe um,
that's
that
interesting.
begins slightly after World War II when this alien virus gets um, unleashed on Earth,
Mhm.
and it turns most people that catch it turn to goo. Um,
It's kind of jacked up.
yeah, that's called drawing a black ace. But
Nice.
some people get uh, powers, but also get some horrific mutations in that.
So you either get a third arm and you can fly, or you turn to goo.
Just about that, yeah. Well, no,
Okay.
not quite. The mutations are called jokers,
Okay.
but there's a small percentage of people who get the virus come out with superpowers looking normal. Those are called aces.
Okay.
And so it's like I said, this is a shared universe that came out of um, a super world role-playing game campaign that Martin and his wife Melinda Snodgrass created
Wow.
down in New Mexico that has um, a huge selection of science fiction and fantasy authors contributing.
Right.
Walter John Williams, Chris Claremont,
Wow.
just a huge selection. And this has been going on since like 1980 in a universe that progresses.
Okay.
But he co-authored a paper talking about the infection vector that the wild card virus would take.
Huh? Nice. He based it off of his own writings, the paper he
Yep.
wrote off of his own
It
writings.
was, yeah, he contributed to a physicist's paper that dealt with viral factors.
That's awesome. That's
Yep.
awesome. You know what's funny though is it's like he's one of those guys, and I won't say not maybe not for many, but for me because of my lack of knowledge about him and who he was.
Hmm.
He's like one of those dudes, like the dude from Kiss, Gene
Hmm.
Simmons, who has a
Yep.
PhD. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you see these dudes and they're doing shit like and they're rock stars and all of that, but yet they have PhDs, BAs. Like they're what there's one of the dudes from Queen is an astrophysicist.
Oh, yes.
Like
Brian
he
Fay, he's not just an physicist, he is currently the chair of astrophysics for the British Astronomical Society. He's occupying the same chair that Isaac Newton once had.
now see that kills me not because he shouldn't be there, but it's just like it shows you it's the ultimate lesson of don't judge a book by its cover.
Exactly.
You
You
know,
want you want another thing that's going to just completely blow your mind?
what's that?
Dolph Lundgren
Yeah, he's a
has a
PhD, right?
PhD in chemical engineering.
Man, man, yeah, like the it shows that you can have a glamorous life like that, and still manage to get your education and
Yep.
do your thing, and and be highly intelligent. Which is why it's always upsetting to me when somebody tells
Yep.
a musician or a TV star that they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My favorite
Yep.
example of this is all of you know Tom Morello,
Oh
guitarist
yeah.
for Rage
Rage.
Against the Machine. He has
Yep.
an infamous tweet out there where he's around the first round of the Trump administration. He was talking
Yes.
about them, and he goes, you don't have to have a PhD in poli sci from
From Harvard
Harvard,
University.
yeah,
Yeah.
in order to understand that this administration is very bad. But as somebody with a with a
With a
PhD in politics,
PhD. Yeah.
you know,
Ah.
it's like yeah, like you don't know what they're doing in their spare time. All you know
Yeah.
is they're up on the stage rocking out, and you go see them
Yep.
in concert.
So
Uh,
yeah, that's the thing.
yep.
So, um, but yeah, so that is on the works, and of course, everyone for since 1987 when Wildcards first came out, um, people have been clamoring for an adaptation, but just the rights are so completely entangled
Mm,
and, around that, and it's so interwoven that um, it's like the world's largest ball of literary twine.
damn.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. And my final contribution for Pop Culture Corner, uh, Garth Ennis, comic book writer, creator of The Boys,
Yep.
Preacher, and all around really intense guy. If you know those properties, um, he's got a new movie deal coming on for one of his lesser known series.
Nice.
That series being Crossed.
Okay. Okay.
And Crossed is basically um, it's a viral pandemic situation, but instead of turning everyone into zombies, it turns everyone into sadistic, psychotic monsters indulging in really dark stuff.
Basically, the worst
Cannibalism,
version of themselves.
yes, cannibalism, rape,
Oh,
mutilation. Yeah, um, it's like The Walking Dead, but let's just crank that gore knob up to 11.
oh my God. Okay, so it's something I won't be watching. I find
Yeah.
myself being a lot like my grandmother when it came to gore. It's just not necessary. I'm
Yep.
good. So, anything to say on
Yep.
that, Saint? No? All right.
Uh,
Let's say, all right, so then that right there, that dead silence.
Faint's all like, how many ways can I describe the fuckery of this?
No,
um,
I just like my point is like, yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
They won't be getting my money. That's all I know. Anyway, but All right, so we're gonna put a pause there, guys. We're at the halfway mark. That will do it for Pop Culture Corner. We are going to come back from break in about 10 minutes and talk a little bit about Raw on Netflix and what happened on SmackDown this week, and Saturday night's main event from yesterday, which was a pretty good event overall. And we'll also be talking video games. Saint's got some stuff for us. Dave's got some stuff for us. So we still got plenty of fun left on the other side of the break from the Cheap Pop Podcast right here on Twitch TV.
Yeah.
Peace. Come on. Oh, there it is. Okay, so first one. All right, so here we go. Last time I hipped you to what was going on Saturdays and Sundays right here on Live 365, and now I'm going to hit you what's going on Monday through Friday. So now
Success comes right after the struggle. I ain't even giving up on whatever I wanted. The tragedies I've seen, I can't even stomach. Most of y'all weak as shit and would've started running. Every time I make it back to the crib, I'm thankful the Most High let me see all of it. Grateful I'm lovely, and I'm being real with this. Please don't judge me, I'ma stay on my shit. I'ma keep a grind mode button, push it, make it do something. No balls for me, cause I'm a loose cannon. I get to choose, camera, switch it up, look up a new banner. Keep smoking on that banner.
We back at it. Yep, we still doing it.
Poetic beats.
First GenXers. Gia. Let's get it, y'all. Come on. We back in the building. It's been a long time cooking in the soup kitchen. And I'm chilling with the same. Dropping these beats won't stop, nope, I can't. Let me get up in the lab, turn it up. Game on with the first GenXers. What's up? Let's flip on the switch or the Xbox and
Get up in my zone, I'm clowning.
let me clear my throat for a minute. Shout out to my folks while I'm in it. It ain't nothing but love, it's babe business. I really don't know what's so who ain't feeling this. And this is only the beginning. Now versus then, this is something for the chillin'. Poetic got the joints like McDonald's. I'm loving it. It's the first gen. We're now rocking with Poetic Beats. This is the first GenXers production. Get your PlayStations out. Get your Xbox out. Get your Switch out. Let's get it in, y'all. Holla back.
They say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But the definition of beauty is distorted. Yeah. Come on. Searching for yourself, so insecure about the way you look, so you go to Miami. You can't find the love within yourself.
Hello, y'all out there in Radio Land and in Video Land. What's up? It's me, Double KK Double, and I'm here to run down for you what the new, as of November 1st, or as of today, lineup is on Live 365. That's right, your place to find all your favorite old and classic 4 Aces Present shows starring myself, The Saint, uh, Mr. Deacon, Ms. Optimism, E Reed, and also your boy Cole with the FU Wrestling Podcast, and also a World of Wrestling podcast. We'll see. Let's go down the roster of the Monday through Friday. At 12:30 a.m., you will open your day hearing an episode of Now versus Then, followed up at 3:45 a.m. by an FU Wrestling Podcast Classic episode. We finish out our mornings at 6:20 a.m. with a double case classroom, 30 minutes. You get a new episode daily. Then we follow that up with a classic episode of K Double's fifth period music class, the show you love me on. I know y'all be watching, listening, and all that. Let's see, and then now we follow that up at the middle of the day on the East Coast and the late morning on the West Coast with 3 hours of Now versus Then Deuce, including a new episode every Wednesday of the new episodes of Now versus Then airing on Twitch right here. If you're watching this on video. Then we follow that up with an episode of KD5P with a new episode every Tuesday at 12:45 p.m. of KW's fifth period music class from Live 365. And then we get 3:20, we get the Worldwide Wrestling Podcast revisited with a new episode of the Cheap Pop Podcast on Thursdays at 3:20. Let's see, and then we get Now versus Then revisited at 5:30. All of these shows from this point forward, with an exception for the next one. Or actually, no, just that show is a replay of the Now versus Then from that morning in case you missed it. Then we get West Coast Bias, a classic episode at 9:05 every night with a new episode of The Classroom every Friday with me and O'Malley on Sundays. And then we close out every night with a 40-minute edition of Lip Gloss and Mics. That's all right here on the First GenXers Radio Network, the radio network that brings you the classic episodes from 4 Aces Presents Network, radio network on Blog Talk Radio and on Spreaker. You can still catch us over on Spreaker with the podcast. And lastly, I am Double KK Double. Check out my website, 2kk2network.com, to find everything about my network. And I'll see you guys there. Peace. All right, what's up, y'all? And I'm back. All right, so here we go. Last time I hipped you to what was going on Saturdays and Sundays right here on Live 365, and now I'm going to hip you what's going on Monday through Friday. So now I'm going to hip you what's going on Saturday and Sunday. We open up each Saturday and Sunday at 12:30 a.m. with a classic episode of Mr. Deacon's Experience, followed by 2:40 a.m. An classic episode of Ms. Optimism Speaks. We follow that up with a classic episode. Now, mind you, this is both on Saturday and Sunday. The days don't break apart till a little bit later. But you at 5:15 a.m. you get a classic episode of Brick in a House. Then you can follow that up with an episode of Reality Radio. Then at 10 a.m. as usual, she will stay in the same spot. We got Sam Brett with a classic episode of Sam Brett Radio Roulette or some other Sam Brett related show. We'll follow that up at 12:10 with Mr. Deacon Revisited again. Probably play the same episode from earlier in the evening. Then you're going to hear Lovely Radio at 2:45. And then that's where things kind of change up. On Saturdays, after Lovely Radio goes off the air at 4:50, at 5 o'clock, you have KD5P, KW's fifth period music class, where I bring you music from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the double aughts, whatever type of music you like to listen to, especially if you're Gen X. Then we close the night with a 2-hour, 45-minute episode of the Cheap Pop Podcast from back in the day with myself and Alpha. and that will close out our evening. On Sundays, after you hear Lovely Radio, at 4:10, you'll hear an episode of The Classroom from Spreaker, the 45-minute episode version of that show. You'll hear 5:30, the episode of Dirty Talk 101. Yeah, sorry. And then at 7:40, you get an episode of Cheap Pop Podcast Revisited, and then we close the night out with an episode of the Sidebar at 10:10. So that'll do it for Live 365 and everything that we have going on there. I hope you guys have truly enjoyed this, and we'll keep bringing it to you. Live 365, First GenXers Radio Network, Voices Presents, whatever you want to call us. We're here, we're live, and we're not going away. Peace.
What the fuck? What? That was
It was a nice beat. Like, I consider Headstrong off that same album, the track he did with Timbaland. I consider that a much better track than Phenomenon.
no, okay.
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, but hey, it was a part. It was a portion of that time. So I just released it. There we go.
Oh,
1997.
whatever, dude.
For those of you who don't know, we talking about KD5P. You can jump over to the website 2KK2 Network and listen to it from last night. Anyway, all right. So, guys, I guess we are going to skip the normal friendly banter, and we are going to hang our right and go right down on Jabroni Boulevard and get to Smackdown Alley. What's up, y'all? Cheap Pop with the Smackdown Alley. And look, I can say this. I was a fan of the match between Gunther and Jey Uso, but the finish seemed kind of flat to me. I'm talking about from last Saturday night's main event, Jey Uso competing with Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. And I'll start off the conversation by saying, no, I never expected Jey to win. I understand that most likely if Gunther's going to lose the belt because of the importance that he brings to the belt by holding it, he's going to lose it at a WrestleMania or at a major event. It's not going to happen at a Saturday night's main event. So, going into it. But other than that, the match itself was amazing. The finish was just flat to me.
That I was not overly all impressed with that finishing. Could have been a little more with some you know.
A little bit more flair to it, yeah. Hold on, be right back.
That was really like
Well, it's like this. I'll say it like this. The power bomb is not a bad finisher, but here's the deal. And here's where Gunther is a throwback to old school wrestling, which is why I think that he gets over, but I don't think a lot of fans like truly understand what he's doing. What I mean by a throwback to old school wrestling is finishes of matches are not a new thing, but finishers are a brand new thing. Like, matches used to end back in the 50s with a dude doing a hammer drop off the fucking third rope, just on somebody's head, and that would be enough to pin him. You know what I'm saying? Like, they weren't out there doing all these crazy flips and back flips and all that, partially because they couldn't, but also just because like that like the finish, the whatever finish you chose is the finish you chose, and if it's going to be about the story that you're telling. But
okay.
But with Gunther being a throwback to that, I think in this day and age, he's kind of not lost, but I think it stunts him as far as getting him even more over with the fact that he doesn't have a true finisher. You see what I'm saying? Like, he has that sequence where it's a drop kick and then he power bombs you, and that's supposed to be his finish. But like, both of those are moves that he uses multiple times during the match, so they're not really finishing moves. But again,
Right.
when you understand that what he is doing is similar to what guys like Gorgeous George and all of them were doing back in the day, it makes sense, but I don't know if it'll get him super over with today's audience if he doesn't have like an actual finisher, like the one arm eagle, or whatever it's called that Kenny Omega does, or like, the ankle lock that Kurt Angle had, or the angle slam, specific finishers, the stunner. the rock bottom. Even though the rock bottom wasn't a finisher, a lot of people don't realize that the people's elbow was the finisher. It was just a stupid finisher. Anyway, go on. Like, don't get me wrong, I love The Rock, and I cheered every time I was at a Monday Night Raw or SmackDown and he did the people's elbow. I went crazy, but I understood I was going crazy for absolutely nothing. He dropped his elbow into the dude's chest. Don't understand what that was supposed to do, but there you go.
I think it was just about the entertainment of it all. I mean, seriously, like, it was it was no frills, the flaring of him showing off and shit, and then throwing the armband and, yeah, and all of that. And it was just electrifying move, you know what I'm saying? Just, spow.
Yep, and so it was, yeah, like I said, it kind of reminded me of that. Like, I think in any other match, a power bomb like that is just another move in the match. But with Gunther, it's the finish because that's the style of wrestler that he is. But great match. Glad he retained. Like I said, I didn't expect him to drop it. I got what I expected, which was a really good match. I will say this, though. There is one finisher that I believe is a finisher. Nia Jax, you beautiful woman, you. That finisher of yours, where you literally just drop your whole ass and body down on somebody's chest, that's a finisher. I don't care who you are. That woman lands on your chest square, you ain't getting up. At least not for a little bit. I'm just saying. Like, you got to be built different to take that and get up. Like, Rhea Ripley showed she ain't built different. She did get up and she finished the match, but you could tell she was hurting. Because not only did Nia hit her with her, Nia hit it with her face down on the mat. Like, so all of Nia's weight hit her back instead of her chest.
Yeah. I will say this. I'm a little pissed.
Okay.
I really wish Sheamus had won that match.
Yeah.
I mean, he was definitely all about the business.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, that kind of pissed me off
Because
because he definitely would have had, like,
I was.
he's
I would
definitely
say
gonna be
this.
in the Hall of Fame.
Oh,
I know
yeah, he's
that.
a lock already.
yeah,
Yeah,
it does.
yeah. But
It
if he
does
gets
set
that
up.
title,
Oh yeah, the
Mhm.
Grand
he
Slam.
gets that Intercontinental title, that's Grand Slam. I mean, shit. Miz is already a Grand Slam,
Oh,
and he's
Miz is
still not
two-time.
really anywhere. Yeah, yeah,
Two-time.
two times.
And trust me, whether we like it or not, the Miz is a Hall of Famer, almost first
Yeah.
ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I'm not saying whether I think the man is. He's proven himself.
Yeah,
to me. But
I agree with you. I don't particularly like the Miz, but yeah, he's going to be a first ballot
yeah.
Hall of Famer. But yeah, but with the slow three, it's going to set up a rematch for Sheamus
Yeah.
and
This is only the second time that they've met for the title. So yeah, there's still another one
Yeah.
coming. And I'm thinking it's going to happen at WrestleMania. Look for the
yeah.
build after the Royal Rumble or after Elimination Chamber for Sheamus and Braun to go at it, or Braun Breaker to
Yep.
go at it again. Now,
Yep.
man, the carnage that was Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu. And let me say this. WWE locker room, Monday Night Raw, SmackDown. Take notice. Jacob Fatu is a fucking beast. And he is nothing to be with. He is on his solo run now. And I don't mean solo like he's acting like solo. I mean, they're going to give him his solo push now. They don't expect him to win the Rumble. He's probably not winning one of the chambers. I believe that those are going to be reserved for Punk and for Cena. They're going to be the winners of those two because I believe they're the ones that are going to be challenging for the titles come WrestleMania. But expect Jacob Fatu to have a big match at WrestleMania because they are going to give him a hell
CM
of a
Punk
push.
versus Cena, that would be nice.
No, not CM Punk versus Cena. It's CM Punk will be going. Either CM Punk's going to win the Royal Rumble and he's going to go after one championship, and then John Cena's going to win Elimination Chamber and go after the other, or Cena's going to win the Rumble and Punk's going to win Elimination Chamber. But I believe both of them are going to be in the championship matches, and there's a possibility that CM Punk's match, and I'm not reading this from any dirt sheets. This is just me processing what the stories that have been told to me so far in my head. I could be completely and 100% wrong. I could nail every single detail. That's just the way it works with wrestling. But
Okay.
I think it could be also leading to a triple threat match between Drew, Punk, and whichever champion Punk chooses if he wins the Rumble, or he has to face if he wins Elimination Chamber. So like I think those are two matches that we're looking forward to. And no, this isn't coming from anywhere. I didn't read anything from Meltzer. This is me just literally off the top of my head. Hey, what's up, Random Rick Reviews? Thanks for shouting out. Yeah, yeah. He says the Miz won him over years ago. Won him over the years. I'm like, yeah, me too. I hated him.
Okay.
I'll put it to you like this: the hate between me and Miz goes deep, and what I mean by that is I hated that when he was on the Real World. Like Mike Mazzani, I hated him. Like he was the most annoying character on the show to me. He's part of the reason why I stopped watching the show altogether. And then when he showed up in my beloved WWE, I was like, really? Like I can't get away from this dude. And then over the years, and I can tell you the exact moment when he won me over too. The WrestleMania where he fought Cena. The WrestleMania where Rock bottoms Cena and gets him as the win when he came in as champion. That was the time when he won me over. But go on, guys.
I totally understand your feelings there, Dark Lord. I feel exactly the same way about Logan Paul. I literally, Logan Paul promo comes on, fast forward, fast forward, fast forward. Logan Paul is going to have a match, fast forward, fast forward, fast forward. I mean, he's got skills. That's fine. I recognize he's got skills. Doesn't mean I have to watch it.
Yep.
You know,
He's a good wrestler. Like, don't get me wrong.
No,
Like he's
like-
proven himself to be a solid wrestler.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure
as far
he
as his
has,
personality, I was over it by his second match. I'm just like, Logan Paul, like, dude, we get it. You're a douche. Go and continue being a douche.
Yep.
But anyway, but yeah, that match between Fatu and Braun Strowman, I think it's a sign of things to come. And I don't think the WWE universe is ready for Jacob Fatu. Like, for those that have watched him over in New Japan and some of the indie circuits that he used to run, like, I don't know if the WWE universe is ready for Jacob Fatu. Like, he's about to be a menace. Yeah. And don't get it twisted. When Tongaloa gets back, the God, which is Tama Tonga and Tongaloa, again, we about to see some real. So, now, we'll go back to, I did want to talk about from Raw, the Penta and Pete Dunne match.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about it. I thought the match went over well. Like not with the crowd. I'm talking about in the sense of them two working in the ring together. You can see that Penta's getting more used to being in a WWE ring, and Pete Dunne reminds me of a young, and I know. Hold on, I have to say this name with hushed tones because you don't want to get canceled. Chris Benoit. Like he really does in the sense of his in-ring style. Like he knows what he's doing. Again, like guys like Randy Orton, every move has a purpose. There isn't a lot of how do you say wasted movement. And so because of that, it makes for a very good match, especially with someone like Penta. I thought that they did well. Fellas, what were your thoughts on that match? Dave, kick us off.
It was.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Go. Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
I'm still getting used to Penta's style because it's not quite the flying acrobatics that I'm used to seeing in Luchador.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, when I think of Luchador, I think of Rey Mysterio, and I realize that's just a generalization.
Yeah. Luchas are basically more akin to cruiserweights.
Yeah. But I'm liking what I see from Penta. I think he's got some great moves in there. The sacrifice is pretty brutal.
Yeah. Oh yeah, his body is.
Yeah. So I think that I think he's got the athleticism and the in-ring skills to really go far.
Oh yeah,
In there.
in
Yeah.
WWE, 100%,
Yeah.
100%. What I say, and then what do we? I'm trying to remember what Raw closed with. I'm gonna have to look this up.
Raw closed with Drew versus Seth Rollins.
Oh yeah, huh? That was
Yeah.
a pretty good main event. That
Um,
was a pretty damn good main event.
Yeah, good, hard hitting, big guys going at each other like that.
Well, it's those two guys can go. Like, here's the
Yeah.
thing about it: Drew McIntyre, as big as he is, the dude can go. And I hate to use terminology. If there's any wrestlers watching, I'm sorry. You know, they don't like us to use but he can, like, and so when those two get in the ring, it's straight gold. Like,
Yep.
90% of the time, it is straight gold.
They've got great speed and capability for their size.
Seth Rollins is not a little man.
Nope,
you
neither
know,
of them are. Yeah.
Neither of them are. So compared to Drew, he may look like a little man, but yeah.
Yeah. I think that the way that match ended, excuse me, proves the point about Seth's storyline about trying to come together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit. And here's the thing about it. Understand, guys. Yes, there are two things that are inevitable, as Thanos would say. Roman Reigns will be in a championship match at WrestleMania, and it will be for one of the two titles. I believe we may even get two triple threat matches, which is another thing. Like, there's a good chance Roman Reigns could win the Royal Rumble or the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And but how big is the Brotherhood now? How many members does that have?
Oh, you mean the Bloodline?
The Bloodline, yeah.
The Bloodline was okay. It's Roman. I'm talking about actual Bloodline first,
Right.
and then I'll talk about the honorary members.
Right,
There's
right.
Roman, there's Jimmy, there's Jay, and there's Solo. And then there's Tamatonga, Tongaloa, and Jacob Fatu. All seven of them are literally cousins to each other, outside of the Usos being whatchamacallit. Then you got the honorary Us and Sami Zayn, and you got the Wise Man and Paul Heyman. So the total size of the group is 9 people.
Okay. That's,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think, has there ever been a stable that size before in WWE?
In WWE, yes, the Ministry of Darkness,
Okay.
which consisted of Undertaker, Vince McMahon, the Acolytes, Mabel. Oh my God, I can't remember. It was so many of them. Like, I can't remember all of them. But yeah, like the Acolyte or the Ministry of Darkness was one. Not many. There haven't been many. The Nation of Domination had about 6 or 8 people in it.
Yeah.
The NWO.
The NWO. Well, he said within WWE, so I was thinking strictly within WWE. But if you want to go all of wrestling, there's been the Bullet Club. It has consisted of over 50 members throughout the years. Like, there's groups. There's multiple groups that have been, and then the NWO being like basically both Nitro and their other show was completely nothing but NWO people. It got to the point where everybody on the roster was a member of one side of the NWO or one of the 3 sides of the NWO. Even Disco Inferno, who didn't need to be aligned with anybody. Anyway, but no, but here's the thing about it. I hate to say it, but wait a minute. I didn't even include into there The Rock, who on screen
bro, I'm sorry.
What?
Disco Inferno. Bro,
Disco Inferno didn't even had no business being a member of NWO. None. Love him to death. No. That's when I turned it off. That's when I turned WCW off, and I did not watch again until Vince McMahon bought it. Go on ahead, say.
Buff Bagwell, dude.
And I'm begging.
That's another lost cause.
I am begging Braun Breaker to please cut a Steiner Math promo at some point in your career. Please, just for me. Anyway.
Because he did the Frankensteiner.
Yeah. That man, that boy's
I saw
athleticism
that
is
shit.
through
I
the
said,
roof.
yeah. I looked at. I said, yeah. That's a Steiner.
Yep. And all of them, excellent wrestlers. His uncle, he had both of his uncles to teach him. But yeah, man, like these guys, it will get to a point where everybody is a good wrestler. But
Yeah.
right now, there are very few and far between. The ones, and as my boy John always says, formerly known as Alpha on the Cheap Pop podcast, the Noy family are the best storytellers in the business at this
Yeah.
point. From facial expressions to them acting to the best in the business. And that was the other point I was going to make. I didn't include. So we got to what, 8 with Paul Heyman, 9. So you
9, 10.
add The Rock. That's 10. Don't forget The Rock's daughter is the GM of NXT. So that's
Ava
11.
Rain.
You know, Ava
So
Rain.
yeah, Ava
So
Rain.
like the bloodline is everywhere, man. You can't go
Yeah.
nowhere without running into the bloodline. And wow.
But yeah, but I mean, I did like the point that announcer with Cole,
Wade Barrett.
Wade Barrett. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had it in my
Bad
mind.
news Barrett.
Barrett, yeah, but the thing that Barrett was saying about how Drew's been trying to cut out Roman Reigns' support system,
Right.
you know, attack the foundation to topple the building.
bloodline.
So yeah, and you know, it's a good storyline to do.
Yeah.
He just needs more people to do it.
Yeah.
And-
Well, I think that here's what I'll say. I think what we're building to is if Roman doesn't win the Royal Rumble, it will be Roman versus Drew at WrestleMania. Like not for any title, just Roman versus Drew. Because we haven't had that feud yet. We had a sniffling of it last year at Clash in the Castle, building up to Clash in the Castle, but we have not had a legit one. So I would say if Roman Reigns does not win the Royal Rumble, expect him to be feuding and going to WrestleMania facing Drew McIntyre. But yeah, Drew's on his on the family. Like he's already gone through Jimmy and Jay, but he ain't quite done feuding with them. It's going to be a minute before he gets to Roman though. Roman's got other business that he got to take care of.
Yeah. I was kind of disappointed in the women's tag team because it was the first time I was watching my Warhammer 40K Angel, Shayna Baszler, wrestle, and she
You didn't like
had-
the fact that Damage Control beat them?
No.
Oh.
It's I thought it was fine. I was just like, she's not wearing any 40K togs. She's just
Yeah.
basic. Yeah.
Xavier-
Compared to what, yeah, and that was the other thing I'll get to. But you know, Fusion or PFC,
Yeah.
they just don't have a lot of style other than black
Yeah.
in there. Whereas
They're just 3 tough girls. Like they're
Yeah.
not. Like they're just 3 tough girls who can beat your ass when they feel like
Whereas,
it,
you know,
unless they're losing the match. Anyway.
or Ioi Sky and Dakota Kai,
Yeah.
you know, they're great and they're tough and they had a nice sense of fashion in there. So
Well, I would
it's just,
say
I mean-
Xavier Woods, if you know him from New
Yeah.
Day, is the one that's
Yeah.
notorious for wearing anime and video game related things out to the
Right.
ring as his dress. Which, by the way, I do want to comment as well on the fact that I actually text same guy Alpha during Monday Night Raw about the fact that if you are an up and coming wrestler, if you are a kid who wants to become a wrestler, watch what the New Day is doing right now.
Yeah.
Watch what Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston are doing
Yep.
right now. How they carry themselves, what they're doing, because it's a masterclass in how to draw heat.
yeah,
Like
and
it
that
truly
was,
is.
That was honestly a shock to me to
Yeah.
watch New Day, because I mean, last time I saw Kofi Kingston, he was just
The power of
Well,
positivity.
yeah, power
was the good guy.
positivity. He was, you know, the West African Jamaican,
Yeah.
you know, always happy, always positive, and now he's just bitter. It's just like,
Well, here's the funny thing about it. Kofi hasn't changed. What's going on here is that Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston truly this is what I mean by they're putting on a masterclass in how to draw heat. They're truly acting as if they don't understand why the crowd is booing them. They're like, we
Exactly.
did the right thing. What is y'all problem? Like y'all don't get it. Like y'all would have done the same thing in our position. Like it wasn't like a heel turn where they were like, haha, now we're evil. We're
No.
gonna do evil stuff. Like they're like, no, we're still good guys. We're still the same Xavier and Kofi that we were 6 weeks ago when y'all were cheering us. Like
Yeah.
what changed? Like
Yep.
and they act like they don't know. But
I did like where Xavier when they're coming out to the promo and Xavier was like, no, we told you that's gone. And, whatever the old
no
New Day
more New
promo
Day
was.
music. I still think with Big E kind of disappearing the way he has, I'm not gonna get my hopes up, but we could be looking at an in-ring return for Big E. Like we genuinely could be, because the way they're building this up is this is all about Big E, and they want to see somebody beat down the New Day in order to
Yeah.
get revenge for Big E. So at some point it's going to be like, okay, who better to do it than Big E? And then also just from a behind the scenes thing, who better for him to work with basically his life on the line
Yeah.
if he does get back in the ring than his two best friends of the past decade, decade plus.
Then,
So
yeah, back to the Netflix premiere of Monday Night Raw. I like you guys better when you had the cereal.
that was JBL, yeah. That's my boy. That's another thing too. Is a lot of people didn't understand this. JBL coming on Raw, I believe the last 2 weeks, is a direct tie. He's currently with TNA right now.
Yeah.
He's working with Dolph Ziggler as Dolph Ziggler's like hitman. And so that's basically a part of the whole 5-year, 10-year, multi-year deal that WWE's recently signed with TNA. Is that we get JBL back. Eventually, we're probably going to get Dolph Ziggler showing up, or Nick Nemeth showing up on one of our shows here soon. Probably going to get you're probably going to get the Hardy Boys, because they're the current TNA Tag Team Champions. So Jeff and Matt will probably be showing up. Matter of fact, they've already shown up on. They've already had some NXT dudes show up on and face them for the titles, and face the Hardy Boys for the titles already. I think this is going to be amazing. It's going to cause people to want to watch NXT and TNA, and I'm here for it. I believe the Motor City Machine Guns coming to SmackDown was a part of that whole TNA thing.
You think so?
I don't think they're still with TNA. I think that part of work of their dealing with TNA is that they brought the Motor City Machine Guns in, because the last company that the MCM was working for, MCMG was working for, was TNA right before they signed with WWE.
Right.
So, I just mark my words. I don't know if this is true, but next Sunday, we'll probably be talking about how Joe Hendry was in the Royal Rumble. And they're talking about, here's some quick news for you guys before we move on to video games. Did you guys know that they're actually talking about expanding the Royal Rumble to 40 men again? They did it once a few years back. But I'm like, I'm here for it. They got a large enough roster. Why not?
Yep. Yep.
You don't do it with the women's though, because you barely
yeah,
got 30
yeah.
women. Don't do it with the women's, but with the men's, you got more than enough men. Here's
Yeah.
something that I've always said. I don't know if I said this to you guys here, but I know I said it to a friend of mine when I was talking to him before. The Royal Rumble, if it was done correctly, if Vince wanted to do it correctly, would have been 40-man Royal Rumble from the beginning, and it would have involved people from the indie circuit. You bring in guys, not just local talent, but some of the best from the indies all over the world. You bring in like 5 or 6 of them, and they wrestle in the Royal Rumble. We all know that none of them are going to win. You know what I'm saying? But you bring them in. You bring in guys from New Japan. You bring in guys from TNA. Like they're already doing it with TNA, but I'm saying you open that up to the Royal Rumble is literally open, and you make it this thing where the Royal Rumble is open to any wrestler, like in the world that wants to come wrestle in the Royal Rumble. And so you get a bunch of people, that people don't know that now all of a sudden get exposure being on the thing. We all know they're not going to win. It's going to be a WWE guy, but still. You open it up to AEW, bring a couple of guys over from AEW, and really add a spice and variety to the Royal Rumble. Just like if WrestleMania was done had started today, WrestleMania would be envisioned more as an event that encompassed all kinds of people. It would be like a 2-day event where you had wrestlers from other companies that came on that stage to wrestle in WWE. You have people like I said, AEW, TNA, ROH, New Japan. Or you would have matches from wrestlers and those things, and then you would have matches from WWE wrestlers sprinkled in between.
Yep.
And of
Right.
course, your main event is for whatever WWE championship you want it to be for. But in the meantime, fans get 2 days of all-out wrestling from multiple different promotions all in one event. It now becomes a super card. But that's just my idea. But if it ever happens, I want my motherfucking movie check. Anyway, I got the video evidence right here, right now that was my idea. Anyway, no, I can't say
let's,
that.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Let's give a shout out to DJ Too Cute.
Hey, what's up,
Hey.
DJ? Thank you for
Representing
joining us.
WBRP.
Bet.
Yeah.
One of our
All
media
right.
affiliates. All right, so that's going to take us right on into everybody's. Cheap pop video game reviews. Because I knew I had a
sipping
couple
water.
of seconds. Because I knew I had a couple of seconds before it got to that part. Anyway, so
Okay.
gentlemen, Saint, kick us off. You got some video
All
game
right.
stuff you want to talk about.
Okay. So, of course, everybody knows that there is the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Well, recently, just last week, on the Blue brand, we have Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings. Now, this is a third person. This is a third person game. It's pre Uncharted.
Okay.
So it definitely has its adventure. It's remastered just slight little bit for the PlayStation 2. Okay, and it's decent. I've gotten a kick out of it so far. I'm not gonna say that it's on par with the Great Circle because I've been enjoying the Great Circle too, but I'm actually I love good adventure games. It definitely has its mechanics and what have you, but it's
What
it's
is
a
it, like a
solid it's a
platformer,
solid
or-
adventure. No, it's a just your straight, kind of like your platformer adventure
Okay.
game. Kind of like I said, kind of like in the vein of if you've ever played any of the Uncharted games.
Okay. Yeah. I
Yeah.
know what I kind of got
And
the idea what you're saying.
yeah, so it's good.
Bet.
It's definitely good.
Bet. Dave?
So yeah.
Okay. All right. So, for the PC gamers out there, well, EA has announced that their um, loading engine Origin will be done taken offline in April because Microsoft is abandoning 32-bit for Windows moving forward. So, for those who don't know, for PC gaming, the launcher is basically like Steam or Origin or something else. It's where you log in and then you select the game from that particular service that you want to play, and it runs through that. It's kind of bittersweet because the name Origin has a long and storied history
Hell
in
yeah, it
computer
is.
games. And the fact that EA devolved Origin after they bought it to a very, very crappy game launcher, it really pisses me off. It's just more fuckery from EA. But that's gone. That's not really going to affect me because I have most of my EA library on PC is coming from Steam or good old games.
Gotcha.
No, but
So,
take in consideration of all of the titles of all of
mhm.
the sub companies that EA has
Taken
really
to the
knocked
ditch,
off, like
taken to the
BioWare.
ditch and shot in the back of the head.
Look,
Yeah.
look, BioWare to me was one of the supreme ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mass Effect, okay. Well, people don't think Mass Effect Andromeda is there, but the
It's
you know the simple fact is that all of these companies that EA has picked up, you use them.
I mean,
Pandemic,
Okay.
Pandemic was a great company. Mercenaries, fucking the Saboteur. As a matter of fact, the Saboteur right now is on the EA is just on the EA servers with on the PC,
yeah.
but not on the or not on the Xbox. I mean, I just don't get it. But Origin, that's
Yeah.
just another one that's just getting tossed to the left. Like what the
Origin,
fuck, man?
Origin, BioWare, um, Maxis,
Yeah.
um, Firaxis game systems.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it just EA just gobbles stuff up, and Dice, and they just
I hope they don't suck up. I hope they don't suck up Activision and Bethesda.
mm, well, no, Activision and Bethesda went to Microsoft.
Okay.
Yeah, well, still.
Well, it looks like we're gonna land pretty much where we are with TV right now, where pretty much Clear Channel owns most of the channels out there, and then there's a couple of other ones that own things
Yep.
as well.
Comcast Universal. It's Clear
Yeah,
Channel and Comcast Universal,
yeah, and
and
so they all link
that's
back to those two somehow.
by
It all
by
sucks.
design too. Yeah,
Yep.
It all
which is
sucks.
which is why I'm a cord cutter. um,
Yeah.
but
I don't
yeah,
think I've had cable, and I think the last time I had cable was when I was back in 2017. 2018
Dude,
was the last time I had
listen.
cable.
I have not had cable. I have not had cable since 2008
Yeah.
when I didn't have nothing but Netflix. And when I did, and seriously, like every week for Netflix, this was all the way up until about 2010. I didn't have to worry about no TV shows
Yeah.
because at that time, um, CSI Miami was on at
Yeah.
that time, and I didn't have to worry about TV because it would show up on Netflix the following week.
Yeah.
So I was able to watch the stuff, and then of course, my games, and then the apps
Yeah.
for like for football or basketball or what have you. So I really didn't need
Yeah.
yep,
TV for that. And then
and
especially after the Arrowverse,
mhm,
I didn't care anything else about TV. That's
and
all I
then
ever watched it.
I have
That
about three things that I watch on national TV right now, and that's Warriors games, 49ers games, and then SmackDown. That's it.
yep,
Everything else that I watch is on streaming.
yep, and then of course there's always those of us who hoist the black flag and are matey.
Well, no, I
So
used to use Cody for a little bit for pay-per-views and sometimes watching Raw at 5 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock.
yeah,
Like, yeah, I did my fair share of patch
yeah.
wielding in my time. Uh,
Yeah, but okay, and my last bit of video game news. So, online retailer Newegg has listed some of the upcoming titles for the Nintendo Switch,
Deuce.
uh, Switch 2, and it includes uh, 3D remakes of new Mario Kart, and The
Nice.
Legend of Zelda 3D. However, Nintendo has not confirmed that those
Uh-oh.
games will be released this year.
Well, now it's just a matter of who was lying. No.
Yeah, someone may have spilled the tea a little early.
Somebody lost their job over that one, George. Say- oh man.
Yep,
Somebody
Yeah.
blew it.
Yep. One hundred
exactly.
percent. Uh,
Yep.
well, I'll say now. I will state this. For those of you who have been watching my UFC stream, like fuck UFC 5. I'll just say that'll be kind of like my major video game quote. Fuck UFC 5. They made those fighters entirely too like hard to beat, like just entirely too. And yeah, I'm still gonna keep playing. Y'all gonna keep seeing me win or lose every week. It's a crapshoot now, whereas before it was guaranteed wins, but it's a crapshoot now. So yeah. uh, but anyway, all right. So that will take us into our final segment of the show. My favorite segment. Why? Watch his face. Where can I find you next? I love doing it just for that. You guys see what's happening up there in the corner? Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I love doing it just for that. So, I believe last week we did Rune Scryer. So, Saint, kick us off. Where can we find you next, brother?
Okay, so you can pretty much okay. Tuesdays we multi-stream on the Green brand, which is on Kick, and of course Twitch. So we've been doing that, and that's going to be that actually started last week, but we will be going back to doing Tuesdays and Thursdays on with Now versus Then and NVT Deuce, two different shows, and then we still have other stuff going on. So, and then of course the game streams, and then I'll probably be doing a possibly a co-stream. It all depends with Roxy, so we'll see what.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
All right. Mr. Dave?
Well, I will be back on tonight on the night shift at midnight Pacific time for another couple hours with Starfield.
Awesome.
Finished off Shattered Space pretty much. So no need to go back to the planet of the religious zealots. Seriously. Overall, I thought it was a good expansion. Just have a few problems with it, and there was a whole lot of repeating curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal going
Okay.
on in there, and also one or two times where the the plot line basically makes you want to go, dude, I have this spaceship. I can take you to the settled systems. You don't have to stay here. And they're just like, no, I think I'll stay here where I'm an apostate that they're going to kill on sight if they ever encounter me.
I prefer the hard way, sir. I prefer the hard way.
You do you, but you do you, man. That's all you. But I'm fine. Yeah, it was fine in there. But yeah, I'm gearing up to get some of the basic quests going on in Starfield, repeating all those. So come on in, check it out. The real big news is that Saturday, February 1st, I will be changing up the night shift lineup a lot. And that February 1st, midnight to when I sleep, whenever I fall asleep, we're going to start on Horizon Zero Dawn on the PS5.
There you go. Big
And
major.
that's going to be played. That's going to be played straight through, including the Frozen Waste DLC.
Okay.
And then after that, we're going to be going on to Horizon Forbidden West and the Burning Shores DLC.
All right.
So we're going to do the full story of Aloy.
All right.
And then a week from tonight on Sunday, we're going to be doing Marvel's Spider-Man all the way through. Spider-Man, the DLC for Spider-Man, then Spider-Man 2, and that DLC.
All right. There you
Yeah,
go.
So we're going to be expanding into the world of PS5.
All right. All right. So that will take us with Dave, and then as me as usual. You'll find me tomorrow night for Madden Mondays. I should be able to get on. I am currently working on updating the Live 365 website with new episodes for the February, March, and April run, and I'll say, but I should be on for all my streams this week, and of course I'll be back next week with KD5P, and we'll be back for broadcast Sundays.
What?
So-
No classroom?
Oh yeah, there should be a classroom tonight. Sorry, I completely blanked on that one. O'Malley said she should be available, so there should be a classroom tonight, couple hours. Be on the lookout for that. And
Yeah, man.
yeah,
What's wrong with you, dude?
I completely blanked on it. But yeah, I forgot that I talked to her while we were on commercial break. So, all right, y'all. That will do it for us for this week. We do appreciate everybody that dropped in. We always appreciate Sajante for moderating for us. And we
I'm going to rate her out, and then I'm going to rate out.
Saint's going to rate us out. And DJ Too Cute, thank you for dropping in. Poe Politicking as usual. Thanks for showing love. And Random Rick Reviews, thank you for tapping in. We appreciate all of you. We love y'all. Hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your evening. And we'll see you later. Peace.
Later.
All right, peace. Hang on a second.
All right. What's up, y'all? And I'm back.